Hello there, everyone. It is I, Sir Hugh, and we have a friend here. Speak,
Yeah,
Luca.
you may recognize me from an older video, but I have returned.
But that was from my old self, so it's down in the archives. Self-sponsorship. I can do that because this is my video. All right, and if you don't read titles, which how are you in here? But regardless, our first character review on an important Joestar.
The first Jostar.
Well, I mean, technically, wouldn't he be like the second because George Joestar?
I mean, yeah.
but he's the official first Jojo. The
Forget.
which do people like Johnathan? Like, do they?
Do they like Johnathan?
Yeah. Like, how popular is Johnathan?
Okay, from what I know and from what I've talked to people about, most people don't see Johnathan as their favorite or one of them. Usually Johnathan or Jolene takes up the bottom spot. And I disagree with that.
Yeah, like, I mean, Johnathan is cool. I think it's just because of Phantom Blood setting that might hold Johnathan back when it comes to popularity.
Yeah, plus he gets the least amount of screen time compared to the other characters or other JoJos.
Yeah. And well, hey, Johnathan is somewhere in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
But Johnathan is just so depressing, though. Like, when you really think about it, his life is just depressing.
Yeah, he doesn't live a good life, which is kind of poetic that he goes from this pampered rich kid with a kind of douchey dad to, he gets forced out of his relationship with his dog, girlfriend, and father, usually by murder.
And his girlfriend, first kiss was stolen.
Yes, in one of the most famous memes ever now.
I'm glad.
I don't think a lot of people point this out about, this goes for Dio and Johnathan credit-wise. Dio literally takes everything. He takes his dog, his girlfriend's first kiss, his house, and everything, but he just takes everything from Johnathan.
And some say that Johnathan wasn't the protagonist.
I mean, I consider Dio and Johnathan to have kind of equal protagonists.
Of course, I like Phantom Blood. In fact, so
do I.
I would put it, in my top 3.
I don't know where I would put it. It's probably in my top 4 or 5. I definitely like it more than Battle Tendency. I like it probably more than Stone Ocean, but I haven't read Stone Ocean in a long time.
Yeah. And alright. So this isn't top tiers. This is a Johnathan analysis, per se. I don't know what the hell I'm calling this, but I'll figure something out tomorrow. Alright. Alright, so Johnathan the nobleman.
The noble gentleman.
His old shtick is noble. And Dio's stepbrother, who he just hates because he wants to watch the world burn. But this isn't a Dio video.
Nope, it was going to be, but it's not.
That is true. Anything that you want to add for Johnathan?
Actually, I'll throw in a fun, useless fact. Johnathan's hair is actually kind of inconsistent. It was originally drawn with brown in the colored manga, but the anime made it blue and then made Joseph's hair brown, which is weird. Also in the manga, Joseph's hair is blue, violet, purple. It's like a weird color. I don't know. That doesn't really mean anything.
Araki doesn't care about colors.
Yeah, that's a good point. Nothing in JoJo is drawn consistently with color.
No, I'm glad that Jotoro's jacket was black instead of blue, because I felt like that would be awkward.
I like Jotaro's jacket being blue in the manga, but in the anime I prefer it as black. So I think
he rocks it there. Alright. Wow, we are overshadowing Johnathan in his own analysis.
Or Johnathan.
Alright, let's get back to Johnathan. Well, the fact that his life was ruined, it also is his strength because he beat the living ass cheeks out of Dio when he just kissed his girl. Johnathan is a Chad.
I'm happy that, like, for one thing I like about Phantom Blood is Dio and Johnathan have a very real, like, enemy-ship with each other. It's not a real term. But,
relationship.
Like, yeah, I guess relationship would work for that. But, like, if you look at, let's say, Giorno and Diavolo, they literally have no connection with each other other than the fact Giorno's like, okay, just hear me out, what if I took over the Mafia? But no, Dio and Johnathan are step-siblings who just hate each other. They just are complete opposite people. And then Johnathan gets to the point where he just confronts Dio early in the part, which is really neat.
Yeah. Which is like, I'm pretty sure most, like, brothers and sisters, well, I'm 99.9% certain that every sibling just hates each other. And that can be said about people just don't like other people for whatever reason. That's life.
It is life.
And
I do kind of like how they have a nuance, though. Like, Johnathan hates Dio, but he still has an unconditional sibling love for Dio. But Dio hates Johnathan on the surface, but actually also has a respect for him. It's cool. I like it.
Of course, it's especially like in the 800s, I think. Like what would it be, like 800s in like the Phantom Blood timeline?
I think 1800s or like late 1800s.
Well, regardless, it was in England, and England is notorious for like honor.
It is.
Yeah. Which is I like Jonathan's though, like, character. Like, his character is awesome. It's just that he's overshadowed by Joseph, especially Jotaro, and now Giorno.
Yeah. Funny thing is, the one thing I kind of find a little interesting, a lot of people, I'll use, like, Jonathan's probably the main example, there's a vocal minority for each of the Jostars that, like, doesn't like them. The only one I can think of that doesn't have a minority that doesn't like them is Josuke, I guess. Because, like, there are people who don't like Jotaro, there are people who don't like Joseph, a lot of people don't like Johnathan and Jolene. Never really heard somebody who just flat out does not like Josuke, which is kind of interesting. Back to Johnathan.
I think it's because of Josuke's, like, I think it's just part 4 in general, where there's, like, no traveling involved.
Yeah, so you get a lot of time to sort of to know Josuke. Plus, Josuke is just a nice guy, and Jonathan's also a nice guy. He's just... But another thing I kind of like about Johnathan, this also kind of applies to Sanji. I'm not going to go on like a One Piece thing, but I like characters who have to struggle with wanting to be noble instead of just, like, perfect people. Like, Johnathan actually, in his first scene, it's him fighting, like, 3 or 2 people that clearly are physically superior to him, but he doesn't care. He's gonna avenge Arena. But not because he's, like, Mr. Sanji Ladies Man, because that's what gentlemen do. I really like that, because it gives Johnathan a little more, you know, depth, I guess you could say. He's doing it for his code. I mean, obviously, Arena ends up being his wife, but still.
But that's not the point here. It's Jonathan being kind and the gentleman, as you said. But
Jonathan.
it's also because he came from a noble family and he has to live up to that.
He does.
And also, it's Johnathan that started the trend with every Joestar being noble and heroic. With, like, Joseph protecting Smokey and Jojo protecting his mom and everyone else because of his stand.
I feel kind of, like, speaking of Jotaro, I feel kind of bad because Jotaro gets roped into the most stuff. Josuke chills in Morio until Jotaro's like, hey, Joseph's your father. Also, serial killers are in this town, so boo. But, like, Jotaro has to fight, has to do the Stardust Crusaders thing. Then he goes to Morio to do the whole Part 4 events. He goes to Italy to investigate Giorno, and then he has to help Jolene in Part 6. Like, Jotaro needs a break.
Well, I mean, there was like a 7-year gap between, like, Part 3 and 4, so...
I mean, yeah, but, like...
But still, yeah.
Yeah, dude needs a break. Then again, that is his catchphrase, to give him a break.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But back to Mr.
The nobleman.
Without it.
Yeah, but Johnathan is just... He died with his stepbrother in his arms. Just no respect.
He died smiling. He literally he died peacefully, which is one good thing, is that Johnathan didn't have to get, like, brutally murdered, as Jojo characters tend to do.
Rest in peace, Johnathan Jostar.
Yes.
You were... It's such a shame that everyone else, well, most of the fandom, doesn't appreciate your true character.
Yeah. I think, like, here's another thing I think is kind of, I guess, I don't want to say misunderstood, but I guess we can say that. A lot of people are starting to not like characters who are just good people. Like, some of my favorite characters are just, they're good guys and good girls. Like, I really like All Might. I really like Johnathan. I like good people. You know, if you can make your protagonist or whatever a just good person who does good things, but has, you know, is still a character, that's fine. You don't need to be the most morally gray human being in the world. I say this when my favorite Joestar is Giorno, but still.
Indeed. You just be a good person. Indeed. Just simple acts of kindness can go a long way.
Yeah.
But people just hate... People just hate on... says they hate this character just for attention. That's what they just want.
That's also fair.
Also, Johnathan recruited Speedwagon. How does that happen?
I find it funny how literally, I think probably the most underrated thing about Phantom Blood, other than, okay, all of it, but one of the most underrated things about it is Johnathan just being himself. Like, he doesn't do anything. He just does what he was going to do in the first place. He completely changes Speedwagon's life. I really like that. That's really, yeah, it's a really good message to send.
Indeed. I owe you my life, Mr. Jostar!
Well, he certainly gives him that payment back as his entire business saves them multiple times. I know there's the whole meme that Speedwagon's like the true hero of Jojo, but if you really think about it, he's the only character other than Dio to have that much influence.
Until part 7.
Until part 7. But even then, you could argue the whole Steven Steele Speedwagon connection, but that's kind of a theory.
I haven't read part 7. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to part 7.
Oh, we got 15 minutes in, 24 seconds in. All right. Well, now let's continue a little longer. Yeah, this is gonna be a long video, considering that I'm basically a Dragon Ball Legends YouTuber, which I did promise the fandom, my 44 subs as of this date, that I would not be a Dragon Ball Legends YouTuber. I wanted to explore other content such as this. But back to Phantom Blood.
Back to Phantom Blood.
There's also Blueford, if you read the censorship subtitles.
To be honest, Blueford is so funny that it kind of just it passes for me.
One thing that I wish they would have Araki would have kept in is just put in Jonathan's sword of pluck. Because
I missed that sword.
Yeah, I bet most people don't even remember that.
It's sad because, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a sucker for a couple things. Two of those things are fantasy things, are dragons and swords. If you use a sword, I'm probably gonna like you. And the fact that Johnathan doesn't use his sword that often kind of makes me sad. He used it twice.
I mean, I think he used it for range.
Yeah, that's
not to mention he used Harmon on the water.
Yeah. Harmon is cool. I miss Harmon, or kind of.
I mean, I like stands and all that. I like that Civ also used Harmon with his stand. That's awesome and creative.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely don't prefer Harmon to stands. That's kind of, no, I couldn't.
Yeah, I think Araki knew it, with battle tendency. It was just, you know what? We're gonna make stands.
I feel like Araki knew what he was doing. He didn't. I shouldn't say he knew what he was doing, but something tells me when he thought of stands, he was really proud of it. No one has ever come up with something this genius before. And then a bunch of fictional universes decide to rip off the idea, but still.
I mean, with Persona, but that gets a pass because of its good characters.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying Persona doing that is a bad thing. I don't know. It kind of bugs me that the entire premise behind Persona is that. But back to JoJo.
Indeed, we don't want this Persona video since Luca here never seen anything about Persona. I mean, you've probably seen clips of it, but
I have a very surface level knowledge of Persona.
Exactly. See, he got the basics. All right, but
Yeah.
There's also the minor characters what was that boy?
Poco?
Yeah, Poco, and people are where's Poco? Where's Poco? Yeah, but that's just the curse in any media in general, but the minor characters that they
Yeah.
In any story, there's always gonna be that one character, at least, that's gonna be undermined. And well, Araki did right. It's just simple. He rescued his sis. That's pretty much it.
I think I think with Jojo, one thing I'm gonna give Araki credit for, Araki doesn't really, he doesn't force characters to stick around. If he doesn't want a character to come back in the story, he just leaves them and leaves their story to end. This is why I think a lot of people who get on Araki, like, why are these characters like one-offs? Well, they don't really have a role in the story anymore. And I think that's cool to have that integrity. Obviously, I do like when people bring characters back. I do that a lot in my own writing, but like, or not back to life, but like just have characters reoccurring. But yeah, like with Pluck or Polka, I keep calling him Pluck. But, yeah.
He's the sword after all.
Him and the sword have become one.
Anubis.
Oh god.
But why is this related to Johnathan? Because it's what Johnathan had with his influence of kindness, as we discussed earlier, or just like 2 minutes ago. But yeah, and then like when his second final battle with Dio, which is in the tower, which I really do like, and when he just beat Dio 1-on-1. They even fought a 1-on-1 in the tower.
Yeah.
That just shows the mastery of Johnathan and Dio's relationship.
I think they're the only villain and hero who only. Actually, that's not true. Technically, Joseph and Cars do a 1-on-1. Yeah, okay, forget what I just said.
Yeah, but still, like, they'll be like, oh, hey, just anime characters, it's just like 1-on-1. But no, there's a reason for that.
I mean, to be fair, none of the other characters really have. I don't want to say the word. They shouldn't fight Dio because Speedwagon doesn't have any connection to Dio. None of them do, to be honest. Other than Dio turned me into a zombie and now I'm. But like Johnathan deserves that 1-on-1 with Dio.
Indeed, and most Jofos, which is like characters such as
The main villain.
well, not that, but like the minor characters, like in part 3. I'm trying to think of one. Danny Steele. Yeah. Characters such as Danny Steele.
Wait, you mean Steely Dan?
Oh, frack!
Danny. I was wondering who you meant for a second. I'm like, oh, okay.
Frack!
Danny Steele. Okay.
Dan of Steel. But yeah, such as characters that use the background characters as hostages, like, haha, General, I got this girl as my hostage, and what? But with Dio, like, arguably Dio at his prime, still fought Johnathan 1-on-1.
Yeah, he did.
And I feel like we're missing some parts, though, like some things about Johnathan.
I'm trying to think of a good Johnathan scene now that about it. I don't know. Part 1 is weird. Oh, another thing I kind of like about Johnathan is it's kind of a shonen thing. I like how Johnathan has a lot of cool moves with his Hamon, like the different overdrives, which not all of them get used in the anime, which kind of sucks. Like one is in the manga only, but still, like it says a lot that the Sunlight Yellow Overdrive is so iconic, even though he does it once.
Sunlight Yellow Overdrive!
The original Oil Rush.
Yeah, just Araki just knows what to do to, like, such, like, a scumbag. that is not
Yeah, I
even
think that's
worth
like
of human life, and just fucking beat the shit out of them.
Araki doesn't have any problem with writing terrible people, and most importantly, having terrible people get the crap beat.
And dogs dying.
Oh yeah, he definitely kills a lot of dogs. I find it funny how Araki like actually has a reason for the dog killing thing. He's like, what's the quickest way to get somebody to hate a character? I know, dog murder. And he does it all the time. This isn't like, it's the meme for a reason. I think it happens at least once a part. At least.
Not part 2.
You're right, actually. Yeah, it's not in part.
A chipmunk died. A squirrel died.
Freaking evil Cars hand chipmunk that kills a guy. I'm still hung up on that. Literally, Cars turns his hand into a demonic super squirrel and then kind of just throws it. He doesn't throw it, but like kind of just lets it go.
We gotta get back to Jonathan before we talk about other parts. But yeah, oh yeah, there's also the Zappelli that Johnathan started.
Oh yeah. I like his relationship with William. It's kind of simple, but it's effective.
And then with Tom Petty and his as a copyrighted musicians.
Oh yeah.
Although I find it funny that Dio's name is like one capital D in part 1.
And then in part 3 he comes back with an all capital name, which still makes no sense, but still.
It's Dio, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we got one more thing to talk about, Jonathan, I believe.
What?
Frack. I want to end it off with one more with like great positive thing about Jonathan.
Oh, okay. I have an easy one for that. One thing I know everyone says about Johnathan, but okay, Johnathan does set the bar really well for the rest of the Jostars, I think. Like, he does set, like, a good precedent. They have to be honorable, they have to have a clash with the main villain, stuff like that. He's kind of the checklist, if you will. And he starts what I like to call the Joestar fusion chain thing. Okay, let me kind of explain. This is a theory I have, or at least a headcanon. Basically, every Joestar is a mixture of the two that came before them, or the one that came before them in Joseph's case. Same thing with the villains. Like, I'll whip out, like, a random example. So, Diavolo. Diavolo is a maniacal man in a position of power who wants to keep, his current status, and he wants to be hidden. So, he's basically Dio Kira. Or, in Joseph's case, he's like the inverse of Johnathan, but still keeping a lot of Jonathan's design. So, yeah, I think probably the best thing about Johnathan, he sets up the rest of the series.
Indeed. You can argue though that like most just first episodes are just like bland and boring, but with Jojo, Araki is just like, nope, we're gonna start the first episode off with a dead person.
Fun, useless fact once again. In the manga, they actually start the series off with a flashback of how the stone mask was formed.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least, like, an Aztec ritual involving the stone mask. Yeah, which is also kind of a point where, like, why did the anime have to cut so much out of part 1? It's weird. Like,
doing part 1
Speedwagon...
Injustice, man.
Wait, what were you gonna say?
Doing part 1 with Injustice, man.
Oh, yeah.
Is that all? Is that all?
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Johnathan right now.
Well, that would be the end of this well, review. I would say. What did you say? Review?
I just say like loose conversation about Jonathan.
We'll probably think of something tomorrow. But I just want people to realize the appreciation and character depth that is of Johnathan Jostar.
I find it funny how we kind of like a lot of this was talking about other Jojo stuff.
Well, I mean, to be fair, all the Jojos are linked with Johnathan, with Johnathan starting to be the hero, gentleman.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's very, very important because of what Johnathan started.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that Jono came from Johnathan and Dio's seed.
Yeah, that's always kind of a weird thing.
Oh, all right. Should we talk about Dio in the next one, or should we start with Joseph?
Dio, I think, because we kind of alluded to saying Dio was going to be the original, so plus, Dio and Jonathan.
No, I just thought this. I actually, maybe we should do the Jostars. And then...
Oh, okay.
Alright. Should we save Dio for last?
I mean, it's gonna be weird because Dio, if we do Dio, like we do the villains after the Jostars, we would have to do Dio twice if we did it in order.
No, we just save him the last. Alright. Even though this video may, or who knows, it may blow up. I would hope so. Would you hope so, Luca?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's kind of us talking nonsensically, but it's fun.
Friends having a good time. Alright. Well, spread the word of the man of Johnathan Jostar, the underrated Jostar, in my opinion.